Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. And today we have some crazy news. It's actually a little bit of a recap of what we discussed in our most recent live stream, just some really juicy stuff for XRP. Now, things have gotten pretty interesting, and so we have to discuss it in depth, but there's a caveat to it which you'll see in just a couple of minutes. Guys, if you've not checked it out, go ahead and check out my $10,000 giveaway. The link is in the description. It's the first link down there. Just go ahead and check it out. And let's just dive into our first part of this topic. Wall Street giant DTCC launches a private blockchain in big crypto milestone for TradFi. Whew. Project Ion is now processing on average over 100,000 equity transactions a day using distributed ledger technology. It just officially joined the crypto revolution, announcing Monday that it began live testing of a private blockchain to see whether it is up to the challenge of clearing and settling transactions in the world's largest equity market. The Project Ion platform now processes more than 100,000 trades per day on average and almost 160,000 on peak days. Now, this entire story is not something which we talk about every single day, but it relates back to the R3 Corda and, well, as you can read right here, the DTCC. How it's connected, you'll start to understand in just a little second, but we need to kind of cover exactly what's going on in the background to understand the beginnings. The US SEC has proposed speeding up stock settlement times to something called T+0. You guys have most likely heard about T+1. This initiative is T.0. Jargon for processing trades the same day they are executed instead of the next day. Last year, Robinhood CEO Vlad Tenev said that T+0 would have prevented volatile markets like those seen with the meme trading stuff with GME and AMC. And major Wall Street players have for years been experimenting with blockchains. The former president of the New York Stock Exchange told the Wall Street Journal in a story published Monday that, quote, blockchain tech is going to rewire all financial services. DTCC, again, remember this name, said its conventional system for processing trades remains in effect. Trades on its private blockchain are being handled in parallel, which is mostly for testing and making sure things are done right. The DTCC project, which is private and permissioned, unlike many traditional blockchain networks such as Bitcoin and Ethereum, is being developed with firms including Barclays, BNY Mellon, BNY, Charles Schwab, all these major banks, Citadel Securities, Citigroup, and Credit Suisse. DTCC, and now it comes up, has partnered with software provider R3 to launch Project Ion using R3's Corda distributed ledger technology software. And last from this article, quote, digitized assets and emerging technologies like DLT are shaping and evolving the financial services landscape, and we remain committed to advancing innovative solutions that capitalize on opportunities, deliver new value, and drive the new industry forward, said Murray Potsmanta, Managing Director and President of DTCC Clearing Agency Services. Now, for a second, let's take a couple steps back and understand exactly what we're working with here. We all know R3, right? We all know Ripple, and I think you guys by now all know the DTCC. And if you don't, just for a second, imagine for yourself how big the derivatives market is. You can kind of see it here. The derivatives market is said to be over $1 quadrillion in notional value on the high end, but some analysts say the market is grossly overestimated. The higher end of the estimates include the notional value derivative contracts. There's a large difference in the notational value and the actual netted value derivatives, $600 trillion versus $12.4 trillion as of last year. But you understand, the derivatives market is very big. And again, the DTCC, this entity here, is a quiet giant on Wall Street, processing basically every trade in the more than $40 trillion US stock market. They do everything basically. They're so, I guess, low-key, even though they're extremely important in the financial realm that we know. Let's start to kind of set up a scheme, right? So how did these things come together? Well, hopefully you guys remember that in 2015, this article came out. If you weren't here, no worries. Let me remind you. Ripple Labs names Donald Donahue as advisor. Now, who's that guy? Take a look. Former CEO of DTCC brings deep financial services infrastructure technology and security expertise to Ripple Labs. June 1st, 2015, Ripple Labs, the global leader in distributed payments technology and supporters of the Ripple protocol, today announced that it has named Donald Donahue, President and CEO of Miranda Partners LLC and the former CEO of the DTCC, as an advisor to the company. And again, take a look at what Donahue said. I am very interested in the capabilities distributed payment technologies seem to offer for improving the safety, soundness, and cost effectiveness of global payments and settlement infrastructures. Ripple is already a clear leader, this is again 7 years ago, in this space, and I'm looking forward to working with Ripple Labs team to deliver on these exciting possibilities. Again, this guy also has some credit because he was leading the DTCC's efforts to help stabilize the financial system through the crisis in 2007 and 2008. This guy knows his way around. And again, there, the DTCC is just huge. Here it even says the processing transactions worth more than $1.6 quadrillion per year. This guy is also not sitting still, he's on a lot of different boards. This man is just extremely important for our financial realm. And then of course, on the other hand, we have R3. Here's a couple articles to refresh your memory. Ripple rival R3 powers JP Morgan backed securities finance startup. We were all watching this, right? HQLA's prototype version was built using R3's Corda in 2017. Had a couple of, I guess, similar banks in that as well. And because of that connection, by the way, people are asking, is JPM coin a security? Because, well, if you think about it, JP Morgan is also very much into the space, very much connected to things, yet their coin seems to be completely fine, even though on most other coins we talk about, there are some questions being asked. But that's a little side note. Here you can see the next small topic at hand. The light shines in the darkness shared. Wall Street's DTCC launches the private blockchain platform to settle trades, and it connects back to, oh, wait a minute. So that one was not the right one. This is the right one. Sorry, guys. R3 launches Universal Settler application to facilitate global payments on Corda. XRP, the first settlement mechanism, back in 2018. R3 launched a Universal Settler application to facilitate global payments on Corda. XRP is the first settlement mechanism Corda Settler built to ensure seamless settlement of payments on Corda across any payment scheme. So you understand now why R3/Corda is connected to XRP. You connect now, or at least know now, that R3 is also connected to JP Morgan. It's also connected to all these similar banks right here. And by the way, that HQLA first transaction was actually completed last month, interestingly enough. People are kind of going crazy over all these connections and saying XRP is getting into the derivatives market. You can even see Digital Asset Investor making an entire video about it. All the money, because XRP having the connections for all of this and being the middle potentially for all of it. Why? Well, there's also, for example, Digital Perspectives who shared R3 says XRP is wholesale, knee bone connected to the leg bone. You can see right here in their sheet, you have XRP as within the center between wholesale and fungible. A little text above it reads, we have a whole section below on what regulated means. Second, no official token glossary exists, though there are ongoing efforts at both the platform level and legislative level. And finally, we make some judgment calls about token types that technically fall into multiple categories. XRP falls into wholesale category because even while XRP can be purchased by retail, only institutional customers can use RippleNet. You might also notice that some things are missing from the figure. We don't include utility coins because they represent a subset of crypto, and we've also left out some prominent tokens if they don't use blockchain for all use cases. For example, here is China's CBDC called the DCEP, which uses blockchain in a limited fashion. Now, recently, the DTCC basically explained, hey, we're thinking about these digital dollar projects, and there was also a video out here, is this one right here, that basically explains a little bit about this connection.
Private and public blockchains. And I think that's really...
I'm always struggling with these videos, so give me a second.
You know, the work that we're doing at DTCC, we're looking at both private and public blockchains. And I think that's really important because, again, we want to make sure that we have that optionality within our solutions. And there are different trade-offs between the different public protocols and private protocols.
Let's just straight off the bat here say openness, which is always nice, but there's a good reason for that, and you'll see it in just a second.
So when we are looking at you know, the public protocols, we recognize that there is an immutability that needs to be recognized. There's certain, you know, there's certain trade-offs that we're just going to have to be aware of. When we think of the private blockchains and those protocols, obviously we have a significant degree of flexibility in terms of governance. And so the constraint of immutability is not as permanent there. And when you think of, you know, our DTCC and our clients, you know, we are sat in a highly regulated industry. And so we need to be really thoughtful about what it means to look at the trade-offs that technology applies, but understand that this needs to function within the regulatory framework. And so private blockchains have been very interesting to us for that reason, for the flexibility that they provide. And within that flexibility, there are fewer trade-offs that we have to evaluate in terms of the use case.
Right. Yeah, obviously, the big trade-off, what you miss out on is perhaps the reachability of a public blockchain, but that may not necessarily be the mission that you're trying to achieve.
Exactly.
Now there's a little bit of context given, I think by Fame Moore, or maybe the person right here retweeting this. I don't know which of the two was saying this out loud, but you'll see that this is a pretty good overview, and I really enjoyed the way he said it.
DTCC is in charge of all of the stocks in the United States. They literally custody every single stock certificate that exists. DTCC is exploring public blockchains. A public blockchain is a crypto. She explains that public chains are immutable, and private permission systems allow more flexibility, or in other words, they can reverse transactions. The IOU system on the XRP ledger allows freezing, reversing of transactions, etc. And to be clear, it's only IOUs that you could freeze.
There's actually a lot of skepticism from the people regarding IOUs, or mostly actually freezes. Whenever I'm looking through these, oh, wait a minute. There we go. Whenever I'm looking through these articles here, like I just covered for you guys, a lot of people below are talking about these freezes and whatnot. And one thing that also keeps coming to mind is actually XDC whenever we're looking into all this Corda stuff /R3. Because of course it's also intertwined in the midst of things. By the way, I'm very bullish on XDC, so for me that makes no negative, connection or whatnot. So here's that tweet that I was talking about just now. Is this a response to those who are worried that XRP holders could be frozen out and lose out completely, because otherwise it could not be used by any of these systems, right? If there's no sort of freezing or anything along the lines possible. But honestly, I mean, we all know and understand that freezing is never really a problem unless it's allowed everywhere. But it's only allowed wherever it needs to be, and so makes no real negative connection either. But you know what, I'll let all these pieces resonate with you guys for a little second, just kind of connecting a couple of different things and putting them up on a little platter. And even though in the live stream we discussed it way more in depth, it's just a little summary of all the things we're discussing, a couple of the connections that we made at that point. Actually, things got more interesting though. So my video idea was supposed to be about 20 minutes because I was going to go a little bit deeper into the whole theory of JPM coin being a currency or a security as well. But I decided that that's not really so interesting. JPM coin being security or not, who gives a crap, right? We'll see what the SEC does, but probably nothing because, well, look at Ethereum, for example. What's more interesting is this. Crypto venture capital, Electric Capital, which recently, is it really that their name? Electric? No, they just misspelled it. Electric Capital, which recently raised $1 billion for 2 new funds, has named former SEC and Federal Reserve leaders as advisors. And I go, ex-SEC Chair Jay Clayton joins crypto investor Electric Capital as an advisor. You can already guess where this is going. He obviously, as an insider, has had a lot of benefits for being involved with crypto. He's going to continue on his rampage. And one thing that's getting a lot of attention right now over on Twitter is the previous topic that I talked about earlier today, right? The whole resign Gary Gensler part. Digital Asset Investor says it got taken down. Now, I can personally still see it, so I'm not exactly sure what has happened. Maybe it's been taken down in some countries. However, it's a very strange one. He changed his name. A lot of people have changed their name. There's a whole petition for it right now. People are going massively crazy. But I just want to say that it's all like allegations and whatnot, right? Even in my previous video, we talked about him resigning. It's not as if he's going to. It's just a question of should he? Would it be better for crypto? Yada, yada, yada. But you can see the amount of people just reacting to this saying, no, it's still up. But whenever I checked this, like, let's say 20 minutes ago, preparing for this video, indeed, the website did crash a couple of times in the sense that none of these links were available. So it could surely, you see, a lot of these links are also not available. Maybe they deleted it from Forbes or something like that. Maybe they're just not happy to promote it anymore or something along those lines. It is very hard to say. All we do know is that it's a little bit strange the way in which things are happening right now. I don't want to click any of these links though, as I'm not sure if this is just tweet unavailable or something strange happened. I'm thinking honestly that indeed it is just that Forbes took it down. As it says right here, the tweet was deleted by the author. So they most likely do not want to republish her article for some strange reason. Maybe it's against policy. I'm not 1000% sure. She most likely tweeted it out, and it's also been taken down or something along those lines. Because I believe she usually tweets out whenever she writes an article about things. So that is also kind of peculiar. Rosalind Layton, for anybody that does not know, is the writer of these pieces about the Ripple v. SEC lawsuit on Forbes almost every month. I think a monthly little letter. Maybe it's actually a weekly thing. I think it's every month though, or maybe every 2 weeks. And yeah, now she hasn't let go anything, even though normally she shares it, so that's also kind of strange. I think she shares multiple different things, by the way. Here we can see another article that she might have shared as well. But yeah, very strange. There's so much more that we covered in our live stream like a day or so ago. So if you guys enjoy these type of finding information and just kind of connecting the dots type of stuff, even though this one was not actually the way I wanted it to be, because I did a mediocre job right here, because I mean, it was really in my story a couple of days ago when all this came out. Right now, tying the story together and making it exciting, it's a little bit harder than when all the information came out. But yeah, hopefully you guys still enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you press the like button and subscribe. Make sure you also check out my $10,000 giveaway. And I'll see you guys again in another crypto video later today. See you guys.